Hello, everyone. Happy holidays. You're listening to the Wrestling Fans Insight. We are recording episode number 39 live here in the Fans of Pro Wrestling Studios and on Twitter Space. Today, I'm joined by my brother, another co-host, William. How's it going?
Better than it's been going for weeks, so.
Hey, at least we're getting sun in Utah finally.
Yeah, sure. 19 degrees. It's wonderful.
Hey, these last 3 weeks have been shits on the roads because it's been nothing but fucking snowstorms here in Utah. And of course, I wish I could have the weather unlike my other co-host. And he's here with us today. Carlos, how's it going?
Good. It's a nice 55 degrees here in Northern California. I'm currently in just shorts and a t-shirt in the house. Not too bad.
You
the
suck.
struggle is real sometimes.
You suck.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know how I'm going to bear through this day.
I'll tell you what, I wish I was down there because doing my job driving in this shit for the last 3 weeks, I don't know what it is. And I really don't mean to pick on my fellow Utahns, but when it snows here, it turns the brain dead on.
Slam on the brakes, there's one flake.
Yeah. Yes.
I just like, Jesus, people. I'm watching people literally pass me in my big delivery truck, going at least fucking 60 to 70 miles. In fact, Utah Highway Patrol actually, believe it or not, caught a guy in an 80-mile-an-hour zone during the snowstorm while there was still ice on the road doing 105. And we're just like, really? How much more dumb can you get on crappy road conditions and crappy weather? But it just goes to show sometimes you just can't have common sense in situations like what we go through. But no, we are definitely jealous of you, Carlos, so I hope you're enjoying it down there.
Thanks. But it's just like we deal with the same thing here when it rains, though. People just, they forget, the roads are slick, or they forget how to drive in the rain. It's one or the other usually.
Oh, dude, it makes you wonder how they get by, don't you?
Because no one ever thinks until they have an accident. Nobody thinks it'll happen to them until it does happen to them. Then it's like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Anyways,
they need their chicken nuggets, man. Give them a break, okay? They're hungry. They're hungry.
Is that boneless or bone in?
Chicken nuggets, McDonald's, dude. Come on now, value. They're cheap asses. They're getting those nuggets. They need chicken nuggets.
I'm sorry. Or
maybe they're door dashing. Maybe they're door dashing. They got to get that delivery out to somebody because they're being a Karen on the other side.
No, I was just being a jokester because of my tweet a few months ago with the whole buffalo wings and all that. Everybody was going off the wall. I'm like, holy shit. My gosh. Just a question, folks. You don't need to get uppity.
Right? Those aren't real wings. Those are real wings.
Anyhow, now that we kind of went sidetracked and Will's giving me the eyeball, I think we better get going with our episode.
I know, right? I just had coffee, so beware.
Oh shit. Yeah. And for those of you who listen to us regularly, you notice we're missing a person. We want to send our well wishes to Heather, who's been struggling with some illness the last few weeks. Heather, if you're listening, we hope you're feeling better. We want you back 100%. And hopefully,
we love you, Heather.
Hopefully after the first of the year, when we're back together as a team, we'll have you kicking ass and dropping F-bombs on the Bloodline and Roman Reigns and all that, your favorites. Oh, and Theory. I forgot Theory. So
Roll Tide, bitches, like you.
That's right. Roll Tide, bitches. Anywho, should we get right to it, guys?
Go.
Yep.
All right.
Will's ready 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Will's no nonsense. He just wants the business done and get the fuck out of here. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get right to it. We're going to start with the WWE programming. For Monday Night Raw, Alexa Bliss defeats Bayley, which makes Alexa Bliss now the number one contender for Bianca Belair's WWE Raw Women's Championship. AJ Styles gets the victory over Chad Gable. The Judgment Day defeating the team of the Street Profits and Akira Tozawa. Io Sky defeating Candice LeRae. Solo Sikoa takes down the musical Elias. Rhea Ripley, in a really physical battle, defeats Asuka. And in the main event for the number one contendership for the United States Championship, Seth freaking Rollins defeats Bobby Lashley. Going into the NXT results, Wesley starts it off with a victory over Channing
Stacks.
I was going too fast.
Just call him his old name, Mother Lover.
Yeah, whatever. We'll just say Stacks for short. Keep it short. Anyways, Toxic Attraction gets a disqualification win over the team of Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. Odyssey Jones which was a weird squash match over Von Wagner. I still...
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
I couldn't stop that thought process after I keep rereading that. Ikemanjiro defeats Javier Bernal. JD McDonough over Brutus Creed. Is it pronounced Lyra?
Lyra Valkyria.
Thank you. Defeats Amari Miller. Duke Hudson, which was the shocker, finally under the Chase U brand, gets a victory over Damon Kemp. And in the main event for the NXT Women's Championship, you're going to hear this right, Roxanne Perez defeats Mandy Rose to become the new champion. And as far as SmackDown, not a very big card as I see. Carlos is going to be our new sound effects guy.
He definitely had coffee.
I was going to say, caffeine's kicking his ass already. Shit. Yeah, for the SmackDown. Oh, Lordy. Next week, or not next week, but at the first year, I think we might just make Carlos the host. Screw it. For the SmackDown card, the Women's Tag Team Championship, Damage Control retains against the team of Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox. In the Intercontinental Championship, Gunther defeats Ricochet. I accidentally wrote it as Gunther, not Gunther. Good spelling job there, dude. And in the last match, in a triple threat tag team match, which that just doesn't even sound right. But Hit Road manages to defeat the Viking Raiders and Legado del Fantasma. And I definitely have some weird thoughts on that one.
Yeah.
Based off what I just read. So, you want to start off or you want Carlos to start off?
I'll start off.
Okay, let's have you go.
Alright, so the Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. It was a really, really good match. The one thing I'll say is I hope Alexa's okay after the bad spill she took.
I read about that.
It was a pretty hard hit on the head.
But they said, a lot of them have reported it seemed like she came off fine from it, though.
She did okay with it, yeah. But it's one of those things, she kind of hit like Big E hit.
So she basically seen Bray Wyatt vision now?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good match. AJ Styles versus Gable. I just absolutely love watching both of these guys, no matter who they're facing. Always ends up being a pretty good match. Judgment Day versus Tozawa and the Prophets. Not a huge fan of Judgment Day. We already know that. But I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Akira Tozawa now. Because we've long known that he's a talent.
Well, they got rid of that little kung fu gimmick he's been doing.
Yeah. And that was a better match.
Shit, pal.
Oh my goodness. That ended up being a better match than I thought it was going to be. Candice LeRae versus Io. That was another really, really good match. I was a little shocked that Io came away with the victory. The KO and Elias promo absolutely killed me. There's just nothing you can do about when Kevin Owens gets on the mic.
Yeah, I can't really say a whole lot.
Yeah, you can't. No, Elias came out to KO asking for help. And so KO brought back the history of what they've been through.
Oh, that's why he gave him the stunner and everything.
Oh, yeah. Elias versus Solo Sikoa, I really didn't understand this match. It wasn't much of a match anyways. We already knew who the victory was going to go to. Asuka versus Rhea. First of all, and I'm sure Carlos is going to side with me on this one. Thank God for the no makeup.
On Asuka?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was...
I heard she had a different change in the face paint and all
There
that.
was no face paint whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah, she come out plain face like she used to.
Oh.
And that was a killer match. I think that was actually the match of the night. Lashley versus Rollins. It was a really good match. I'm loving what Adam Pearce is doing because after the match, Lashley freaks out.
Well, yeah, he fires him, but then comes back on social media and says, well, I let in the heat of the moment, overpower my thinking, and Lashley's not fired. I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Sure, that was it.
If you're gonna fire someone, fire them, but don't go back on social media and say Bobby Lashley isn't fired. It's like, okay, we just
because they had to fire somebody else is why. That's why they knew.
Well, and this time of year, it's kind of rough too, right?
Mm.
They said they reversed course because of the Mandy Rose thing. That's why they wouldn't do that.
Probably.
Okay, NXT. I really didn't think much of this card. It just seemed like they were off this week.
Well, the only thing that stood out was the
Duke Hudson.
Well, not only Duke Hudson, but the Women's Championship, but we'll get into that after Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, Wesley versus Stax, expected that. Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley versus Toxic Attraction, of course, a DQ, which I'll never be okay with. The Odyssey Jones versus Wagner match. What the hell is that?
It wasn't a match. That was the problem.
Why? And then, I'm sorry, but I cannot watch Bernal. I actually fast-forwarded through that match.
Well, I'm going to pause and sorry to interrupt, but I actually like what they're doing with Javier.
It's just too annoying to me.
Well, yeah, but if you really look at the way they're booking him and having him play, I think it's actually going to benefit him down the road. However, they do need to get him to be a little more serious as his tenure matures with the company. So, sorry, go ahead.
The JD McDonough versus Brutus. This was a pretty good match. I can't ever complain about either one of these guys either. The debut of Lyra Valkyria versus Ari Miller. It was an odd match. I mean, they did what they would normally do with a debut. But Ari Miller is not a jobber. She's not really somebody you just squash.
No. However, I do think they need to have her develop her in-ring and promos a little more.
Yeah. Duke Hudson versus Kemp. Absolute ridiculousness going on watching the way Duke performs in the ring under the Chase U thing. It's just got me laughing, but I was really shocked that he got that. And then, unfortunately, the Mandy Rose versus Perez thing. Unfortunate for Mandy, I say, of course. I do think that Roxanne Perez is definitely championship material. I'm just not sure this was the right time for it.
Yeah. I think that was what a lot of people are feeling. I think they had the right person dethrone Mandy Rose.
Yeah.
I think they just rushed the whole thing because of what we'll talk about after Carlos gives his views.
Yep. And SmackDown, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. Ricochet versus Gunther. That was the match. That was pretty much the whole night. The rest of it was messy and bullcrap interference and a whole just crap load of nonsense.
Well, don't sugarcoat it. Tell us how you really feel.
I did.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just want to make sure you got it all out there.
Oh, it's out.
And I apologize for some of that extra noise to the listeners. I had to switch to my iPhone this week because my Android decided to act up today just before we were connecting. So Anywho, Carlos, you're up.
All right, so my thoughts on Raw was, I again, like Will already said, Becky or Bailey and Alexa killed it. For me, like honestly, like I was watching, I wish they would have had a better crowd. And for me at this point with Monday Night Raw, like I would like to see maybe Raw once a month come from the Performance Center. To be honest with you, like just to see what the atmosphere would be like if they recorded once a month at the Performance Center, because I feel like those performers deserve better. It just I can't stand the crowds at these events. It just takes out of me enjoying the card.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Carlos?
Am I not there? Hello?
Oh, yeah, you're there now. Sorry.
Okay.
I thought
I thought Gable and AJ had a really good match. Again, for me, I want to see the day where Gable gets a really good singles run, honestly, and gets a really good winning streak. And then, like what Will said, I love what Tozawa did. I mean, again, it goes to show, like, because people want to criticize how AEW does things, but it's like, but if you let a guy just shine and wrestle well and let his personality come out, he gets over. Like, what a shock! Like, like Tozawa got the best reaction of the night, because he's letting his personality come out, and he was doing his moves in the match, and he got over with the pounds. Like, it's not rocket science sometimes, And the one thing that I hope maybe we're getting Matt Cardona to help the Miz out, because I think the Miz needs a friend. Again, that's just hopeful. That's just some hopeful, me hoping for the future. And then I think Solo did a really good job. I think Solo versus Roman at WrestleMania 40 is a main event we're going to eventually get. I just think Solo is making me more of a fan every week. I love the banter between Elias and KO too, because again, like it's just like. Again, I think it goes on to like show what us fans feel sometimes. It's like we don't have amnesia. This.
Uh-oh.
And so I like KO kind of just going off of those feelings. Again, I like Asuka with no face paint, like Will said. I hope that's the return of the NXT Asuka that used to just kick ass and chew bubblegum and give out ass kicking and all out of bubblegum. I didn't like the main event. I didn't like how it ended on a weak pedigree. And again, the Bobby Lashley storyline, again, they're both bases, so it's just kind of a weird storyline to me. And then one thing I would like to see from Raw is maybe some qualifying matches for the Royal Rumble, just to kind of make things more interesting. So as far as NXT goes, I agree with what Will said. Like the whole episode fell flat to me, and especially coming off a premium live event, I just expected more for the episode. I feel like they had a missed opportunity. And I get that they had a lot of stuff going on with Mandy Rose, but again, they're young talent. But that's maybe where the veterans should have been there. And like we need to step up. Again, I feel like they just had a wasted opportunity coming out of a premium live event. And again, for me, a lot of it was just the booking. Like it should have had more big matches, maybe. I thought Wesley and Stacks had a great match. I've really become a fan of Wesley as a singles wrestler. My big thing for NXT is, again, I want to see some women move to the main roster. I went online and they have 28 women on the NXT roster right now, and I would like to just see those women go to Raw, like a lot of them, just to make Raw more interesting. I like how JD McDonough's becoming like the workhorse of NXT. I just feel like he's that guy who's gonna just go in and just give you a really great match. Like he's like the Daniel Bryan of NXT. Just you can depend on him. Again, he's becoming one of my favorite wrestlers as well. I'm glad they got Scripps some better ring gear and got him a better mask. Amen to that. Oh my gosh! When I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh! Shawn Michaels opened up the wallet, or he got a seamstress. It just looked way better. But again, the fact they're gonna push him as a heel has me laughing. I'm just like, are you serious? Like, whatever. Again, as far as I hope Ivy and Tatum, I wish they would have won the tag titles, and because I eventually would like to see Katana and Kaden and Toxic Attraction move to the main roster. The one missed opportunity, I feel like Kiana James should have had a match this week, especially coming off her really good deadline performance. And then again, and we'll talk about it later. I'm happy for Roxy, but again, I wish it would have been better, but at the same time, good for her for winning. As far as SmackDown goes, I mean, they were in Chicago and they were able to kill the Chicago crowd. I think that just was a big sign to them. And I feel like everyone online I feel like when I think of SmackDown, I think about the Cody Rhodes old theme song, "Smoke and Mirrors," because that's what I feel like. That's what SmackDown was. It was like just because they gave you Bray and they gave you Cena, and like you're happy, but the episode sucked ass. In between the first match and the second match, there was a 28-minute gap of action. So and a shout out to Wrestle Chaps because I was like because they Wrestle Chaps online on Twitter they do the timing and they actually had more minutes of action than I thought they were going to, but yeah, in between the first and second match there was 28 minutes and they literally went from they went from the Gunther video package to showing what happened backstage, to the Ricochet video package, to showing what Raw and Bloodline did backstage segment. Then they went to the Uncle Howdy LA Knight stuff, and it was just like really 28 minutes. I could imagine, and to me, like I know I'm a fan on TV, but I think about what if I was there in the crowd right now, and I do think about that. And again, that's one thing I like about AEW. They think about the crowd, and again, I wish if WWE just play to the actual crowd more instead of just worrying so much about the TV product, it would make the TV product better in return. So again, I just couldn't believe that 28-minute gap in action. My goodness. But again, Ricochet and Gunther killed it. And again, for me, they should have started with the LA Knight. Bray should have opened the show. Then it should have had the women's tag match. Then it should have been Gunther and Ricochet, and then that dumpster fire of a three-way tag match. It would have just been the show would have been better if they would have just broke up the segments more. And again, for me, I like how Ricochet, again, that's what a championship match should be. I didn't like how Solo was trying to intimidate Roman or intimidate Adam Pearce in the backstage segment. To me, that's a WWE official, and I don't like to make it. You made Pearce look strong on SmackDown, but now you're going to make him look weak on. I mean, you made Pearce look strong on Raw coming out to confront Lashley, but now you're going to make him look weak on SmackDown. That didn't make any sense to me. I wish we were getting Rey and Los Lotharios feud with Legado instead of Rey and Cross, because again, Legado just came off this really good match and really good performance at the World Cup tournament, and now like he's being wasted, and they could have Cross easily feud with Sheamus, and of course I'm excited for Cena in 2 weeks. I think that's going to be awesome. But again, they could have just got there a whole lot differently. So that's kind of all I have about WWE programming.
Yeah, to touch base on the SmackDown, I mean, and I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Obviously, I didn't see much of the programming this week.
Yeah,
and I've been really busy, so sorry to all our listeners. I'm not going to have a whole lot to say this week, but I can give my 2 cents based off what I've wrote down as far as results and everything. And the one thing,
right.
The one thing that always bugs me is when I watch how many matches are on each program, and 3 matches, Correct. 3 matches on a 2-hour program. No, yeah. Like you said, if I was there in it live, I'd be really fucking pissed. And I'm sorry, you might have a possible match before SmackDown goes on air, and then have another match and have like a dark match after the event. But I'm sorry, that doesn't make up for the 2 hours of programming that you recorded there.
Especially for what they're going to charge me to go see it,
Yeah,
that's no.
Yeah, I mean, to me, you're robbing the fans' money and insulting their intelligence too. And that's why I think a lot of people sour on WWE and go right to AEW. Hence, though, sometimes AEW drops the ball with kind of coming up with the creative storylines with some of that stuff too. But in any event, yeah, three matches in a 2-hour program, that's just kind of a waste of a program in my opinion. Like Will said, Ricochet and Gunther looked like it was pretty much the match of the night. Which
it was the match.
It should have been more the main event, than having Hit Row, Viking Raiders, and Legado del Fantasma close with that final match.
Carlos got that right. That was an absolute dumpster fire.
Yeah, well, he pretty much sent that in GIF form in the group chat. But why don't we just go ahead and get into some of the hot topics that we haven't really got into. One of the biggest rumors this week, possibly Vince McMahon returning to the WWE. Yeah. I'm just gonna kind of be the Debbie Downer for those hoping that it will happen.
It's not. Yeah.
The first problem is WWE is a public traded company now. It's not that easy for Vince McMahon to say, "Hey, I want to come back," and he's back. It doesn't quite work like that. I would think with all the allegations he's just faced recently, early this year, and now the ones that are coming up just recently, if I was a shareholder, I'd be saying, "Sorry, Vince, no, we don't want you back. The programming's been better, our fans have been happier, and we want to continue with that momentum."
Yeah.
I think as far as that goes, Vince McMahon should just stay where he's at. Stay off the TV, stay away from management.
Retire, dude.
Just enjoy what's left of your life and stay away from something that doesn't need fixed right now. I mean, everything always needs fixing or could use some improvements, but I think right now with Hunter and Steph leading the company, I feel WWE's in a much better spot than where it was just before Vince retired.
Yeah.
Carlos?
Oh, I agree. The thing that I feel bad for, is that now it puts in fans' heads. Now when Triple H, if he messes up something or shits the bed one day, well, we want Vince back. Vince wants back, so let's bring him back. And it's just, I agree with you guys. Like, he's not doing anybody any favors by leaking that out or saying that. And it's just, and I think, and again, like, that's your son-in-law and that's your daughter, and it's like, you had your thing, but it's just, but at the same time, like, if he wasn't the narcissist he was, the product wouldn't have been that good. But at the same time, like we're talking about before, like turning, like we're talking about in our chat, making somebody like like the sheep herder to the bushwhacker. He likes to demasculate people because he wants to be the alpha, and that's just, and that's even like what he did at NXT. He was demasculating Triple H, emasculating Triple H by when he stripped NXT. Like, oh, you failed, and it's like, just like, I'm with you guys, just go away, and like. But to me, it's just sad because it's like, but again, like he's profited. I think like his stock's gone up $300 million in value since Triple H took over, and that's not enough for you. It's vile to me. That's the only way I can put it. And again, just stay away. Just stay away. Get a new hooker every day and just stay out of our wrestling lives.
Well, that's quite the interesting way to put it.
Well, like, shoot, I'm over it. I'm just over him. It's like, keep your mouth shut and stay. I put on Twitter, go in with Trump and Kanye on an island. Have yourself a bunch of little go-go dancers on there. Just stay out of our lives. Jeez, go away.
Yeah. Alrighty. Now that Carlos
leave the room.
Now that Carlos has let it out, do you have anything else to add?
No, I do not.
That's all I gotta say about that, because that's the bottom line.
I'd say, shit.
Oh my gosh,
man, where's Heather when we need her?
That wasn't a triple red eye you drank, was it?
No, but it just makes me so mad, man. It's just like, gosh, just.
I think the coffee is kicked in. Get that guy another pot, will you?
We're not going to sugarcoat things today.
Well, I would hope we're not sugarcoating things any day, but
yeah, no. Just vile, just gosh.
So the next hot topic, Mandy Rose. I did a poll on my main Twitter account at John WF Insight, and I was actually kind of surprised by the turnout, 270 votes. I wasn't even expecting to hit 100, just because how people see polls anymore.
I was one.
But out of 270 votes, 74% said, or sorry, I guess I should read the question, was WWE justified in firing Mandy Rose? 74% said no, 26% said yes.
I call it inappropriate. I'm just going to say it right now, because you could have gotten away with a suspension or a fine. Why did it have to be termination? And it's her body.
Well,
the main thing is that because I was researching stuff and I was trying to find, even though it's not my, what the team I play for, I was trying to research it and find out. And I guess the thing she has, like she had like a kind of like a simulated sex scene with her and her fiance in the shower. So I think that was the thing that kind of was like the straw that broke the camel's back on that one.
And I can.
So that yeah.
Sorry.
So I think there's more. No, but there's more information come out. Like, and I can kind of see them being like, well, that was a little too far. When you're kind of simulating sex with your fiance in the shower, yeah, that's a little too much.
Yeah, and I think when everybody reacts initially, yeah, it can definitely change once you do more and more research.
Correct.
I did my best to try to stay in the middle because I had to. For me, I like to kind of see both sides of the argument, and as things progress, when it keeps getting more and more information released, I really hate to say it, but I'm kind of with that 26% in a way that say yes. Although we have to look at things in the past too that drive me nuts. I mean, and everyone will go, well, different time, different era. Well, no, but it's the same principle. I mean, you had the likes of China, Shawn Michaels, Sable, Tori Wilson, few names Carlos brought up. I'm trying to remember right off the top of my head. Ricochet, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, because they've had their penis, yes. Theory.
Yeah. I mean, and
Riddle as well.
Yeah, to some degree, I'm sure a lot of them stopped when asked, and that's probably why they still have their jobs. But I don't know. I think maybe something along the line. Maybe WWE needs to have some kind of like exception clause with Mattel and say, okay, well, what if we don't do figures for these certain characters? But the rest that play by the rules, we still keep doing all the action figures and stuff like that. Maybe that's something they need to look at down the road. And I don't know. I'm on the fence with it. I understand why they needed to terminate her. But at the same
time, though, if it really was Mattel who had a problem with this, then why is Mattel making China figures after she's passed away?
Exactly. And
I feel like that's just a BS. Like, I don't like, and that's again until we get the truth answer. But it's like you're making a figure of China who posed in Playboy and did sex tapes, and again, that's the reason that's the reason she was inducted by herself in the Hall of Fame. But you're making figures of her, making a buck off of her. But now you're gonna put the moral line. Come on now.
Yeah, there's a lot of double standards as far as what I'm seeing, and I don't know. I just think somewhere along the line they need to find a way to kind of make some amendments in their contracts, or they need to figure something out, because Mandy Rose, I hate to say it, she's been the top female performer in the last, 413 days?
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I'm going to bring up. She was only 3 days shy of beating Shayna Baszler's NXT Women's Championship reign. I think if it wasn't for that, she would have been the top woman to hold the longest reign for the NXT Women's Championship, which I think rightfully so. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's going to have now a check mark by her title reign.
And again, for me, like, I feel like we got to wait for more information, because again, like we don't know. Like, did WWE tell her just to take down the tape with her and Tino, or did they say take down everything? Like, because I know she didn't want to get rid of the site, but did they offer her, well, can you get rid of this? I feel like we need to still wait for more stuff to come out about it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to judge Mandy for this. I mean, hell, if you're making more money doing what you're doing, fuck, go with that. Get out of wrestling and keep making that money. I just don't feel that. I don't know. If I was a businessman, I'd be really at the tightrope with it. Do you give her one more chance, or
here's my big thing: is it hasn't been just a few double standards; it has been a career-long double standard, because they have used her sexualization.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, the entire Toxic Attraction, really, if you think about it. I mean, Gigi Dolan does all that stuff on Instagram and other forms of media.
Yeah.
So does JC Jane. So are you going to get rid of toxic attraction as a whole?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Although I do find it funny though that what if they do away with toxic attraction as well? Because now you just kind of hurt their way of going back to that.
A watered down toxic attraction, like a watered down hit row. Woohoo!
Yeah. Let's hope it doesn't get that bad. But yeah, I don't know. It's a touchy subject. It's definitely a hot topic for the week for WWE. I'm a little sympathetic for Mandy Rose, but in some ways I'm not.
To me, like for me, like the whole thing is like I wish they would have just suspended her for like 30 days and let cooler heads prevail, instead of being so rash about it.
Give her a chance to be compliant.
Give her a chance to be compliant. Like just say we're going to suspend you for 30 days. And then see if she come to cool down and just give her a chance to be compliant, because to me it's like, again, like I see her stance, and she's wanting to, to push the button, but at the same time they've known about this for months, and at the same time, like, like I said, it's because it is both sides of the spectrum. Like she should have known some fans were going to post it eventually online. Like you can't tell me that she didn't see this coming, because even she was like, she had like a thing where, you could pay $50 and she'd rate your dick pic, like she was doing things like that, she was pushing the line, and she was pushing, like where you could, like, because I've been researching this, and she was, if you paid her a couple $100, you could send her clothing and she would wear the outfit for you, she was pushing the line of what was allowed, and so again, like that's like I'm like with you, Will, like I was on this side first, and John, and then I went on this side because she should have realized again where she was pushing the lines, and she should have realized, okay, I pushed too far, and now it's time to retract back, But then again, that's where I wish they would have just suspended her and let cooler heads prevail. Because if AEW is smart, they're going to go get her.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, especially once that 90 days hits. Oh yeah, I'd be on top of it.
I'd be on the heck, yeah. But again, for me, and just, handle it in a roundabout way, a better way to be like, don't do this, but you can do this, and again, but I think it's also good, but I think she's trying to prove a point too, where she's like, I make more money off this than she was as a WWE talent. And she was being paid as a main roster talent, and she was one of the higher paid contracts for a woman, and she's still making more money doing this than she was for WWE. So I think that, so maybe in the end she's fighting for better pay for the women, and I respect that, So again, that's why I'm kind of on both sides of it, I see, on this side I see it, but don't be so explicit, with it. But at the same time, I get the battle she's trying to fight, and I do think in the end she's going to be back in WWE.
All right. Let's talk about the Bloodline promo there at the end of SmackDown. Will's shaking his head because he really wants to forget SmackDown this week. I'm sure you do too.
Was he doing a Cena? I see. I can't.
He's just closed his eyes, looked down, and shook his head toward me. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go there.
And again, like people want to give kudos, like, oh my gosh, like the Bloodline, the feud's gonna go, but it's like. But again, they fell on this by accident because again, like they weren't expecting the Sammy thing to get over. So yeah, there's a lot of inbred storylines and it's going well, but it was because of Sammy, like they didn't plan all this out, So it's like again, it kind of fell into their lap about like these embedded storylines. But I feel like they have storylines for the next couple of years. So eventually, I do see like a solo Roman match. But again, for me, it was just I'm not going to let them off easy just because we got Cena and Roman. Like, SmackDown, it should have been better, especially being in Chicago for that crowd. I expect better from them.
Well, I guess where I was going to actually go at with the whole promo was Sammy was about to have the honorary taken off the Bloodline shirt, and Roman says, nope, because now we have a KO problem, and that's what caused that whole thing for Sammy, and you could see the look on Sammy's face. Is this now where we're going to start seeing the Bloodline turn on Sammy?
Well, because he called KO his friend. He said, my friend Kevin Owens. And so that's what made Roman turn around and be like, what? And then that's when Cena popped up. So they did a good, the timing on that segment was good because right before it leaves you in, like, it leaves us hanging. But yeah, it's definitely going to be the start of the end. But because again, right, that's right when Roman was about to say something, that's when Cena popped up. But
did you have anything?
so
No, I don't.
Okay.
let's move on. Let's not give them too much credit.
All right. Well, why don't we just go ahead and wrap it up there for the WWE? We're going to take a small break, and then we're going to come back to our AEW segment. All right, getting on with our AEW Dynamite. In the first match in the best of 7 for the Trios Championship. I wrote best of 7 Trions. Way to go. From a guy who's a former Spelling Bee champion. That's really great.
I had to throw that in, huh?
And I apologize for that ding. I still haven't figured out how to silence my notifications, but all right. The opening match, best of 7 for the Trios Championship. Death Triangle defeats the Elite. Death Triangle now has a 3-1 lead over the Elite, so I think match number 5, which will be next Wednesday, is going to be a no disqualification match. So
Yep.
I knew it wasn't going to be long before we had a gimmick match somewhere in those 7. However, I think this is where the Elite's going to find a way to make the comeback here. So we'll see what happens. Number 2, Jungle Boy Jack Perry gets a victory over the Machine Brian Cage. I'm sorry, Carlos. House of Black defeats the Factory, if you even called that a match. Action Andretti, who is making headlines everywhere in the pro wrestling world, gets the victory over the former Ring of Honor World Champion Chris Jericho. Ruby Soho gets a victory over Tay Mello. And for the AEW World Championship and Dynamite Diamond Ring, that little asshole MJF defeats Ricky Starks. And for Rampage, John Moxley defeats Sammy Guevara. Dr. Britt Baker DMD over Sky Blue. Was this even a match? Wardlow against Exodus Prime? No? Yeah, I figured.
It was a squash.
I figured. And in that main event, I find this really funny that Best Friends or Orange Cassidy seems to be the main event for Rampage the last few weeks. but Best Friends Orange Cassidy and Dustin Rhodes defeat the team of 7, Kip Sabian, and the Butcher and the Blade. Why don't we go ahead and start off with Carlos since Will started last.
All right, so I worked this Wednesday, so I fast forwarded through the trios match. I just couldn't do another one right now. I was like, I can't. I just can't. I just wasn't in the mood. The one thing I am glad for is that they're doing kind of what I talked about, putting some stipulation matches in there. So I will watch the next ones, but I'm just like, I'm gonna skip this one. I just can't do it because Survivor was on. I had Survivor on the DVR too, and I wanted to watch Survivor. So I was like, I gotta make it some time somewhere before I know where I'll be going to bed like at 3 a.m. So again, I'm just happy Brian Cage is on TV. But again, I'm tired. He's like the guy Tony's okay taking L's all the time. But again, at least I'm glad that he's back in the favor of the locker room and that he's on television. I'm okay with Jared and Lethal feuding with the Acclaim because I feel like Lethal's done a really good job, and I feel like he deserves to be in a high-profile feud. And so I was okay with their. And again, I put on Max Caster's. I want to comment on one of his Twitter. I'm like, that's like a rite of passage. Like, you're big time now, taking a guitar shot from Jeff Jarrett. So that was good. Like, sister, that slap nuts. And then I thought. Again, I'm glad, and then with Brian Cage, I'm glad that he just lost the roll up and that he didn't take the big finish from him. I like that Hook made this. I like the fact that Hook made the save in that match too. I want to see Hook, be the one to eventually dethrone Joe. Again, I like seeing the fact that the House of Black is feuding with the Factory as well. I like the fact that they're kind of towing the line of heel and face. I like that they're going after both. Great moment for Action Andretti. Again, I see Eventually, like I said before, Jericho's going to be turning face. I can already predict that. and especially after he put Sammy with he made Daniel Garcia Sammy's little buddy, and so you could already see Daniel Garcia is going to turn on that too. Like, yeah, this isn't going to last long. I'm calling the main event the Battle of the Booty Daddies. Then I didn't like that there was 3 botches in the match. For MJ's first title defense, that didn't look good, and honestly, it kind of took me out of the match a little bit. I'm excited that Bryan Danielson came in at the end. I'm glad to see that that's going to be the main event for Evolution, since I'm definitely going to be there as well. As far as Starks goes, I'm interested to see what's going to happen next for him, because he does have so much momentum, and I just hope Tony Khan doesn't drop the ball with him like he did with Wardlow. Personally, I would like to see him go to Ring of Honor and be the Ring of Honor champion, then maybe have him and Swerve feud for that title, and then eventually bring him back around to beat MJF at the end of the next year. For Rampage, Sammy and Moxley had an epic match. It made me really miss kind of seeing Sammy every week, because I just kind of forget, with everything going on with him that's not wrestling related, you kind of forget how good he is in the ring. And then for the one thing I didn't like about Rampage is, like, if you're gonna have FTR and Moxley on Rampage, give me their introductions. They both were already in the ring when Moxley was already in the ring for his match, and FTR was already in the ring for their interview segment. And to me, like, it just adds so much to the product when they come out to the ring. So again, you could have cut off the squash match and let their intros play. That just kind of, again, I just didn't like that. I could have done without the women's match too. Again, I'm tired of seeing Sky Blue lose every week on my television. I'm just so. And Orange Cassidy then.
Oh dear.
And Sammy main event thing, because again, I'm just every week it's Orange Cassidy with Mark Henry at the and it's gotten old for me. That's all I got for Rampage.
Yeah, sorry, Will. I am a little disappointed. I think Sky Blue. I think she's deserving a little bit better than being a jobber to
let me again, if you want me to care about her, let me see her win a couple matches on Dynamite, and then I'll let me see her lose. But it's like, again, TK just has those people that he has like she's like the female Brian Cage. That's that person he has the problem. It's like,
yeah, for sure. Will, go ahead.
So this entire week, I think, was just really hit and miss. Like Carlos said, the Elite versus the Death Triangle. I had a hard time watching this. What I wrote down was good hammer match, because that's what it's become. And I'm glad that they are doing that no disqualification next week, but it's a little transparent as to how that's going to go. Brian Cage versus Jack Perry. It was a pretty good match. House of Black versus Factory. I thought that entire thing was actually kind of just lame. Like, I like where they're going with it.
Well, I like the fact that they're making House of Black look
strong.
Very strong. They're going the right way.
Right, but I think there could have been more content to it. Big kudos to Jericho for the Action Andretti push. That was, I think, a really good call. How much more redeeming can that be for a person to have somebody like Chris Jericho?
Well, and I think Chris Jericho is looking to help build the new stars of the future here, and that's what he's doing with these guys, and that's what we need.
Yep. So, yeah, big kudos to Jericho for that. The Ty Mello and Ruby Soho match, I had a hard time in enjoying it. I mean, it was a good match, but I don't know if anybody else noticed just how grabby the referee was on this.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
Grabby?
Yeah. He had his hands all over them women.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you notice that, Carlos?
No.
Carlos went back to listener. Sorry. We'll get him back there. I wasn't paying attention. Bad monkey on my part. But, yeah, I didn't know that part, and nobody even mentioned that in the report.
Yeah, he got in there in between them several times and threw them off of each other. Like,
Oh dear. Yeah, that's not.
No, it's
Now, if it was Ref Aubrey, that's one thing.
yeah.
Oh, and it looks like Carlos is back with us. Will mentioned the ref was a little bit grabby in the Ruby Soho Tay Mello match. Did you notice that?
With the girls,
Yeah.
I didn't. I did not notice that. No.
It was. I guess Will mentioned it was separating them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was just getting straight in there, grabbing them around the waist
Oh,
and
wow.
throwing them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Like that's just too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to definitely go back and watch the programming from this weekend.
I thought it was just over the top and ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
there's no need.
The rest. I agree with what Jimmy Cordero says, and again, and even like Tommy Dreamer will criticize the refs on Dynamite. Like the refs, they're just too big. They're too much into the program. Like they need to be more in the background.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody, well, if you listen to all the other podcasts, especially the ones that Conrad Thompson does, that's the first thing a lot of these experts like Shivani, Jim Ross, Arn Anderson will say is the best ref is the one that's not in the attention or being seen. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly. I mean,
if you're making yourself invisible to the fans, and you're doing a good job.
and that's just it. And that's where again, that's where AEW is just like. I mean, Aubrey Edwards has her own action. Too much. It's just like they're making these refs they want to be the star in these matches too, and it's just too much.
Yeah,
it's gone out of hand.
Well, shout out to NWO Machine Invader from Wish. That's one thing they always kind of jump on Aubrey's crap about is she's too busy getting her expressions in rather than actually just doing the job as the referee. And sometimes I can understand that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Bryce does the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's my thing is I don't mind the referees actually getting involved, but I'd rather see it be something that the wrestlers initiate.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's where Aubrey Edwards has been really good.
Yeah, I mean, no, Aubrey does a good job mostly every match she does. I just think if she kind of not do so many expressions in the match, your job is to be unbiased, not biased.
Yeah. And
But I can agree with what Will say too, because I mean the women should be treated like the guys, and if that was the guys, the refs wouldn't be doing that to the guys. They wouldn't be separated like that either. So like, just let the women do what they got to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we'll move on. The Starks versus MJF was a great match up until, of course, my favorite, the low blow victory. Yep.
That again.
Yep. And I mean, you expected it out of MJF.
Well, honestly, though, we haven't seen that many low blows lately, so maybe they got tired of listening to our show bitching about it. So
Yeah, right. Did the botches? Did the three botches bother you at all?
The botches always bother me, but
Yeah.
a lot of it is more so my concern for their safety.
Yeah. Yeah, because he almost dropped MJF on his head. Like, that was scary.
Yeah.
Big time. I was like, oh.
Which is
yeah.
basically what happened to Alexa Bliss is she went for a move and got dropped.
Well,
Yeah.
I think sometimes these guys get moving so fast they don't realize that they just need to slow it down a little bit too.
Well, for me, like, I want to know, was it then? Because I know MJF doesn't wrestle that much on TV, so I'm like, in my head, I'm like, does he need to wrestle more, or were they nervous? Like, I kind of like, I just like, which one was it? Like.
Okay. Rampage. Mox versus Sammy, and like Carlos said, I called this an excellent, crazy freaking match. Like, this one stole the show for me. I think this is actually this was my top match for the entire week through all the programming. Like Carlos and you, John, what was even the point of this terrible Britt Baker versus Sky Blue match?
I think it was like what Carlos has said many a times. It's kind of like an obligation to have one women's match every card, and unfortunately, Baker and Sky Blue were the victims this week.
Yep, they could have put more time, like Carlos said, into the entrances and into the Britt versus Sky Blue match instead of having Wardlow come out and just destroy Exodus Prime.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much the majority of the Dirt Sheet Writers' opinion, was there was no need for that match.
And then, as much as I love Orange Cassidy, I'm with you guys on this. We do not need to see him every single program. We don't.
Well,
it was a good match.
Not necessarily don't need to see him every program. He just doesn't need to be the main event of every Rampage.
Yeah, because he's gonna have interaction with he's gonna have the interaction with Henry, and it's like, okay, this is getting old now. It's like, all right, like.
So, like I said at the beginning, it's just I felt like this entire week was hit and miss.
Yeah, it was, like I said, sometimes I can get a good idea, especially with the notes I've written down. And, yeah, you see a lot of good matches, a lot of great talent, but the cards just
sucked.
Wasn't so much they sucked, they were just misaligned. Terribly misaligned. So, anyhow, why don't we just get into the hot topics for AEW this week? Already mentioned the best of 7 trios. Match number 5, no disqualification. Like I said, I saw a gimmick coming somewhere in these 7 matches. I think if you're going to have it go 7, match number 7 should have been the gimmick match, not number 5. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe match number 7 it'll be that, like I mentioned, the bell hammer on a pole match. I just...
No, it's gonna be a steel cage match, or no, ladder match.
Yeah, stick him in a steel cage.
Match 6. I think match 6 is no. Match 5 is a no. Match 5 is a no DQ. Match 6 is false count anywhere. Match 7 it's a ladder match. It's already been announced.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's Escalada de Muertes, or whatever they call it. Yeah, it's that match 7 is gonna be a ladder match, and match 6 is gonna be no DQ. No false count anywhere.
Oh shit! Oh.
Yeah.
I guess
so they're gonna be entertaining matches. Yeah.
I guess that shows you how busy I've been, because I didn't even have time to research that. So.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that update, Carlos. You spoiler alert. But to kind of continue on with that best of 7, hopefully Nick Jackson will be all right, because it looks like he
tweaked his ankle.
Reading from the reports, he tweaked his ankle pretty bad there. And, well wishes sent to Nick Jackson. It's never good to see any talent injured, whether you like him or not. That's pretty much their way of living right there. So hopefully by Wednesday his ankle will be a little bit better. But yeah, those take time to heal. But it does look like, Bryan Danielson will end up being the next challenger for MJF for the AEW World Championship. I just don't really see them putting the championship on Bryan Danielson right now.
Yeah.
He's only got, I think, a year left on his contract.
Yeah,
or 2 years.
He's exiting in 2024 for his final full-time match.
Yeah.
And then we're losing Dustin Rhodes soon.
Yeah, Dustin Rhodes has recently announced 2023 will be his last wrestling year.
See, I think they should have MJF retire Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah. If Dustin Rhodes can't win the AEW championship, then he retires.
He retires, yep. Trying to fight for his brother. Yep.
I think that would be an awesome move right there. A good way to do it. Jeff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, that would actually be a pretty cool way to be sent off, honestly. Especially for as young and how fast he rose with his character. I think that would definitely be a big part of MJF's legacy. Mox and Hangman going at it on Rampage. I tell you, I think this is going to be one interesting story, because who really plays the face and who really plays the heel in this one? The thing I was hearing online is that Moxie's been wanting to turn heel for the last year.
but he couldn't do it because of storyline reasons. So maybe they're going to finally let him do it. I don't know. I'm interested to see what's going to happen.
Well, I think the rehab too kind of offset that when he decided to take himself away.
Yeah,
I think that kind of delayed his heel turn, and I don't know. This might be the way to go to get him over because Hangman's beloved by the fans. I mean, especially after all the shit that went down after All Out and all that,
Yeah.
That probably made him a bigger face with the AEW diehards.
Anyhow. Well, for sure. I mean, maybe they could have Claudio and Wheeler break off from the BCC and then have the BCC turn heel,
Yeah, that could be another option. But I guess my question is BCC going to keep going now that Regal's no longer going to be with AEW?
It seems like it. I mean, it seems like Moxley's going to be the leader of it now. Like they had a promo on Wednesday where Moxley was doing the talking. That led to the match with Sammy, and then Wheeler and Claudia were in the background. He did a really good job. He's in a. But for me, again, like, I can see Garcia join them now. There's so many. Maybe then is Ken say I'm not even going to bother. Is he going to join them too? Like there's so much they can still do with it. I'm interested. I want him to continue personally. And Tony loves his factions.
Yeah. You wanted to bring up Mercedes Martinez this week?
Yeah. What about her? Just the fact that.
Well, say that again.
What about Mercedes did you want to bring up?
Oh, I don't know. I think this was something you mentioned in the group chat when I was mentioning what hot topics we wanted to bring up.
Oh, that was Mercedes Verano, you mean Sasha, right?
Okay, sorry. I guess I got the wrong Mercedes.
No, I just think so. I think Mercedes. I think she's coming in. I think she's going to be Soraya's. I think she's going to be the mystery partner. I really do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and I think it was last week when we mentioned it. I think Mercedes is making a smart choice. She's going to have a short-term deal with New Japan Pro Wrestling here soon.
I think she's doing like what Cody did. I think she's going to go show her worth to WWE. Like, I am a big star. I am a crossover star. And then I think she's going to come back and get even more money than she wanted before, to be honest.
Well, and I think it was Ken, Mr. Gentleman, from the Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle podcast. He goes, gosh, I don't want her to sign with AEW. And it's like, well, no, she's making the right moves. I think if she shows her worth by working a few short-term contracts with the indies, hell, even with AEW, if she's making the right business move by showing her value, and that's what's going to get her a bigger contract with WWE if WWE still wants to pursue her, and I don't know why they wouldn't.
The thing that I would like to see for, like, if she's going to be Soraya's partner, is I would like to see her be her partner courtesy of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, have her come in courtesy of New Japan Pro Wrestling, her mystery partner. Do it like that. Give New Japan that clout, Like, have them, and then just have them be the ones bringing her in for courtesy of New Japan Wrestling for appearing on AEW tonight. Mercedes Verano. That'd be cool.
Well, and here's where I'm gonna say New Japan Pro Wrestling is on top right now because they're not just working with AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact. They're also working along with WWE. So I'll tell you, the promotion right now to be at is New Japan Pro Wrestling. So
for sure, and if I was them too, because I really do think FTR is coming back to WWE. And so if I was them, I'd keep those belts on them too. I wouldn't take them off them anytime soon.
Well, I think the writing was on the wall when they lost the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships to the Briscoes and not gaining them from the Acclaimed, which
yep.
I think Tony Khan really missed a huge opportunity there. That was to have a tag team hold 4 different promotional tag team championships.
Exactly.
That would have not just put FTR on the map, it would have put AEW on the map. Say, hey, I got the best tag team here. They've got 4 different brand tag team championships, and they're our guys. And
then maybe that's why they're leaving. They're like, they missed opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Khan really dropped the ball on that, and I don't know. I hope he learns his lesson on this at some point. But Jamie Hayter, Hikaru Shida, we're going to eventually see that feud for the AEW Women's Championship. And
next week, isn't it? Aren't they fighting next week?
I believe so. And I'll tell you what, that if those two women have the right amount of time slotted for their match, and it's not in the middle of the fucking night, but where either be like a co-main event or started off with the program, I think those two women will have a killer match. I love the fighting styles of both women. I think Shida was a little undervalued when she was the AEW Women's Champion there for over a year.
Yeah, she got screwed by the Rona, bro.
Well, not so much by the Rona, but I just... It kind of felt like...
Well, yeah, she didn't do it in front of the fans, really, so I get it.
Yeah, I don't think the fans knew her too well.
Yeah.
Even though she was the champion.
That's why I said she got screwed by the Rona, because...
Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay. I'll concede to that point. You win.
But also too, since her becoming more comfortable, because she's come out of her shell more since now that I think once she saw that the fans liked her, it, like Will said, like once she saw the fans were behind her, she's come out of her shell more too now, and you got to really appreciate her more.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I'm going to bring up, could we possibly see allegiance between Hook and Jungle Boy Jack Perry after this week?
I don't hate it. I mean, I don't really hate. I mean, why not? You know, people like in AEW, you got to have friends that have your back. You know, so why not? But I really want to see Hook and Samoa Joe feud. I think that'd be an awesome feud.
Oh yeah, the battle of the sleeper holds.
Take my money. Hard Knocks just gonna, Hook, and I think show Hook can take on a bigger opponent too. I think it'd just be badass.
We got Red Rum versus Coquina Clutch. Hell yeah!
Oh yeah, it's to me, take my money.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, it would be not. Well, here's another thing. I would like to see AEW really capitalize and sanction the FTW Championship. I know it's not traditional because it's Taz's title, but I think if Taz stays with the company long term, I think do the title some justice and sanction it, and get rid of the All Atlantic Championship. I'm sorry, I don't like it, but it's not serving its purpose like it was supposed to originally do. It was supposed to be a championship defended in AEW's honor off the TV and out in the other promotions. And they did the total opposite. They brought it to TV to have Orange Cassidy be a fighting champion, which that's actually gone well. I just wish it was a different championship like the TNT or something else,
Well, to me, because the way he's defending it all the time, and to me, right now, Orange Cat it's outshining the TNT title.
Yeah. To me, that should be the TNT Championship right there.
But for me, like, I'm okay with Hook and but at the same time, like, if they can put off the Ethan feud with Matt Hardy, will they hold that? Like, when I have Ethan feud with Hook and then have Jungle Boy with the Firm.
No, we kind of lost you on that little bit.
I was saying, they could have Jungle Boy feuding with Big Bill, then have Hook feuding with Ethan Page, so they're both feuding with the Firm, and hold up on the Matt Hardy turn for a while.
Yeah, I would like to see Matt Hardy just kind of sit back until Jeff Hardy completes his program, and maybe we see the return of the Hardy Boys go try to make one more run and maybe gain the AEW Tag Team Championships. Yeah. That would be an awesome match to see the Acclaimed and the Hardys. I think that would be a banger right there. But
honestly, the team I want to see beat the Acclaim for the belts is 2.0. I want to see those guys get the gold. You want a taste?
Oh, I was going to say, is that going to make your nipples hard?
Maybe.
Oh, dear. Speaking of hard, we got a hard break here, so we'll be back and we'll give you our top 10s for the week. It's time for our top 10 for the week, and I know it's kind of weird that I'm gonna give my top 10 even though I didn't watch much of the programming, but I'm just gonna do it based off what I saw for results and everything else. So, but
Wrestling fans are opinionated. It's okay.
they can judge me. I don't give a shit.
Exactly.
If they don't like it, I guess they can host their own goddamn podcast. So, but since we don't have ladies here, we're not going to be able to do lady first. So, Carlos, we'll start with you.
All right. So my number 10 was Ruby Soho.
Awesome. Will?
Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, for me, I went with the natural Dustin Rhodes. So, moving on, Carlos, number 9.
JD McDonough.
All right, Will?
Candice LeRae.
I went with Toxic Attraction. Number 8.
Tozawa.
Ooh.
What the hell, Carlos?
I guess that's your number 8 too.
No. It's coming up shortly.
My number 8 is Ruby Soho.
Hey, we think alike at least.
Yeah, my number 8 went to Damage Control. Number 7.
Sammy Guevara.
Oh. All right, Will.
Action Andretti.
Awesome. I went with Duke Hudson. Number 6.
Remember, he didn't watch the shows, guys.
Yeah.
Jesus.
If Von Wagner's your number 1, I swear. Number 6 for me was Ricochet.
All right, Will.
Dude, what the hell? Okay, my number 6 is Tozawa.
My number 6 went to Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Number 5, Carlos.
Action Andretti.
I see. My number 5 is Alexa Bliss.
My number 5 went to the House of Black. Number 4.
John Moxley.
Oh, Heather's gonna love you. All right, number 4, Will.
The Elite.
My number 4 went to Seth freaking Rollins. And as we move into number 3.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, here we go.
Wesley.
Yeah, my number 3 went to Action Andretti. So,
A lot of names. That's good, though. That's good. We have a lot of similar names.
Amazing how a lot of our same names are just so close with each other.
Yeah.
Except for a couple of mine. But number 2 there.
Gunther.
Ooh.
Huh, nice.
Interesting.
My number 2 is Ricochet.
Yeah. And my number 2, Gunther. Take that, bitches. So, and last but not least, but at the very top for everyone, Carlos.
The Acclaim. No, I'm just kidding. That's Roxanne Perez.
Are you serious?
Of course.
Oh, shit.
We all probably went there because she's new women's champion.
Well,
Yeah, no, mine is not Roxanne Perez.
Oh.
Mine is JD McDonough for a lot
Nice.
of the same reasons that you said, Carlos. Like, he is just really carrying it right now.
Yeah, I like that.
and without any further ado, my number 1, Roxanne Perez. So me and Carlos landed 2 wrestlers in the top 2 completely the same, which is actually, yeah, 2 that were exactly the same position.
And me and Will were like off by 1 a lot, but that's good.
Yeah. I mean, it just shows where we are kind of with our wrestling fandom, though, what we like, what we don't like, and what we see. That's pretty good, so. But, you know, when the opinions differ, there's nothing wrong with that either, so that's what this platform's all about, is being a wrestling fan and how you express it, so. But anyway.
And at first for me, I was like, man, do I need to put MJF on my top 10? But I'm like, no, because I really wasn't that impressed with the match.
Well, yeah, I mean, and when you mentioned that, I'm like, well, if they had some botches, I don't know if I want to put them.
Yeah, 3 of them, 3 big ones, yeah.
I mean, the thing of it is, like, I could put Roman Reigns in there because he's been the top dog for 2 years, but he only wrestles
Yeah,
once a month now.
Yeah,
if that?
he signed he signed a new deal where he's going to be on less.
Yeah.
So
I
see him going the way that Cena went towards.
Yeah. So.
Well, because they were using him a lot for house shows to try to get that business back. So hopefully within the next year we see him on TV more, get to see him more matches.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, we gave our top 10. It's been a fun program talking with you two. The only bummer is we didn't have Heather this week, and like I said, I hope she gets well. We're hoping after the first of the year when everyone's got some rest and had some relaxation during the holidays. Not sure what Carlos is doing there in the background. But
oh, sorry.
Sounds like a candy wrapper.
Not using the bathroom, I can tell you that.
Hey now. At least that wasn't recorded, so.
So you think?
Yeah, well, yeah.
It'll be on the bloopers episode.
I was gonna say we'll put that on the Patreon when we get that started. Bathroom talk between John and Carlos.
Is he a 2-flusher or 1? We'll find out soon.
I sell squares 4 for $1. Use them wisely.
Spare a square.
Oh lordy! Everyone that listens to this, they're gonna think, "What the fuck are wrong with these?"
You got somebody right here.
And you're one of the co-hosts. So what does that say?
Nothing like bathroom talk between the boys.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, are we going to start holding it for each other too?
Well, no.
Oh,
wow. No. I definitely will not go that low. So. Oh wow! I didn't realize my pun there. Anyhow.
Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways, why don't we get on to our shout-outs here?
That's what I was looking for on my paper. That's why I was turning my paper.
Oh, just scrambling to find them, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Carlos, why don't we go ahead and get your shout-outs out of the way?
Well, let's shout out Heather. Heather and then Jess, who's usually on here as well. So both of them. Of course, NWO Machine, Vader from Wish. Shout out to 4. Patrick, Patty Magic 96, Esther Fink, Scourge Virgo, and then let's also give one out to Saint Wrestling 1. And of course, our boy Brian Atkins.
Yeah, we'll be talking about him next episode, so
sounds good.
Hope everyone stays tuned, and we're actually going to record it right after this episode. We're just trying to make sure we get the episode recorded before Christmas, but it will still release on Christmas, so we will not be on Twitter Space next week for those of you who look to usually tune in, but I would be hoping you'd be spending it with your families anyway. So, anyhow, Will, do you have any shout-outs to give?
Not until I become more active.
All right. Well, fine then. I want to give a shout out to one of our Facebook admins, Trisha Pilo. I think that's how we pronounce her last name.
Pilo.
Yeah. Okay. She's been doing a really great job holding down the fort for us and creating yet another chat group that Carlos has really been a fan of.
We can just text now. We're good.
Yeah, it was just funny when you said that. I'm like
another time.
I'm like, I didn't create this one. No, we love Trisha for all she does for the group. She's been doing a good job. Thank you for your help with us on that, Trisha. It's really hard for me to really watch every platform that we've been trying to be on, and I've been trying to divide the responsibilities up. So yes, I appreciate her very much. Yeah, I love her to death. I've known her for years. Back when we actually had, what was it, IRC back then, known as Chatway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so big shout out to Trisha. Also, yeah, I want to shout Heather out one more time again. Heather, we love you. We want you to get better. Please definitely take some time to rest, relax, get well soon. We look forward to having you back when we come back to Twitter Space. Also want to give a shout out to the boys there at Wrestling with the Truth podcast. They've been doing a really excellent job. They just came off their November to Remember with almost pretty much the entire Smack Drop crew there. and just recently did an episode of 2022 in review where they gave their top 5 stories. It was
Oh, that was really good.
yeah, they did an excellent job. Jay Myers and BC Hunter, they just kill it each and every week. One day maybe we'll be great podcasters like them. So, but I also want to shout out Austin Boyer as usual. He does a great job with the wrestling world. Ted the Hillbilly Hill. You can find him at Hillbilly Hill on Twitter. He does a great job on the Hill Truth each and every week. He recently just did one on situational heels. Another great episode where he mentions when talent knows the right time to turn heel for the moment. And also want to give shout out to Chime In Podcast. Today we laughed and learned. Also want to give shout out to Buzzing with Marlowe. He's actually a former professional wrestler himself. He does a podcast and talks about his experiences as a pro wrestler, but also as a family man. And want to shout out Execution 84, Sarah. She's been a great part of our wrestling community as well. That's going to wrap it up for us. And without any further ado, we're going to get right to the credits. Thank you to Libsyn.com. Without them, we wouldn't be able to be on every platform. They've been a great host for our podcast, so we hope to keep continuing with them as long as we go. Also, Pixabay.com, where we download our royalty-free music to use for the commercial breaks, introduction, and as our exit. And you can reach all of us on Twitter. Carlos, you want to give your Twitter handle out?
Yeah, it's at C to the LOS 77, and then also at Conquer the No.
All right, William.
Yep. William HOPPE 8. It's
With the W on us.
For sure. And you can reach me on my 2 Twitter accounts, the Wrestling Podcast, WF Inside Podcast, and my personal John JOHN, WF Insight. You can reach me on both of those, like I've mentioned before. Love to interact with all wrestling fans, and it may take me some time as I'm kind of going through some transitions at work. I've obtained a new position, and we're kind of trying to get everything all scrapped away, get things geared up for the new position. Looking forward to it, and hoping to be spending more time on this personal project once I get off work. So we're going to be having some great new things come up here after the first of the year. And also want to say you can find us on Facebook, The Fans of Pro Wrestling. And we now have 2 websites, thefanofprowrestling.com. Please make sure you go to the secure site on that. But we also have a separate domain for our podcast here. Just go to www.wrestlingfansinsight.com. It'll take you right to our podcast page where you can listen to every episode we have published throughout the year. Sorry, had a slight pause there. And you can also leave us a voicemail on our interactive Google voice line. It is 385-367-4772. You're also welcome to text us any input you have or, comments about the show, or if you have an opinion to give out, we'll air it on there next time we get it. So, alrighty. Other than that, we all hope you have a Merry Christmas. We're going to end the recording here, and we will be recording episode 40 here shortly, and it will be released on Christmas Day. For Will, Carlos, and myself, we'll catch you all next week.